All right, in the gym, we've probably all heard the term sit down on your punches. And it's usually in response to us going soft on them, throwing arm punches. It's usually a cue to throw punches with more power. But what does it mean? Well, there's some good reasoning behind that cue. The first is if we want to throw a hard follow-up punch, it puts us in a better position. So for instance, if we throw a left hook and we end up standing tall and we want to come back with a hard right hand, first thing we got to do is get back down. That's an extra move. You guys know how I hate extra moves. It just adds an unnecessary delay to the execution of our techniques. If we're already down, we're in a better position to follow up with that punch. But a second, maybe not as apparent reason for that cue, it allows us to use our leg power, our substantial leg power in a punch. I know that might sound a little bit counterintuitive. If we think about an athlete utilizing their leg power to a maximal extent, they're usually in full extension, right? Think of a shot putter. And ultimately, this is going to be how you would get the most power behind a punch, but it's an insanely stupid idea to do that inside a ring. But there's another way to grab that leg power, and that's by going downwards. And the reason we're able to do that is Newton's third law of motion. I think it's the third law. Second or third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So the amount of force we put down on the ground, we're going to get that much reactionary force coming back that we can then transfer into our hips and ultimately the punch. So when we think about it that way, two things immediately come to mind. Number one, if we want to have the maximum amount of force coming back that we can then utilize, we have to go downwards with as much force as we can. So make that sitting movement when you punch explosive. I mean, if we sit down slowly, it might put us in a better position, but you're not going to have anything to come back with for the punch. The second thing is, you got to have the leg strength to be able to utilize that. If instead we go soft and we end up bending under that force, well then the muscles and the connective tissue and the joints are going to absorb all that downward force instead of returning it to us. So the takeaways are, when we want to throw hard punches, sit down explosively. Doesn't have to be a big movement. It can be a very small movement. And number two, it's just another reason why we need to have strong legs in this game. So work on leg strength, leg explosiveness, develop that stretch shortening cycle, that stretch reflex. Work on that power. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. See you next week.